Today's case brings us to the state of Wyoming, situated in the western United States within the Mountain West area. Wyoming shares borders with Montana to the north and northwest, South Dakota and Nebraska to the east, Idaho to the west, Utah to the southwest, and Colorado to the south. Despite being the 10th largest state in terms of area, Wyoming has the second lowest population density, following Alaska. The state's capital and largest city, Cheyenne, is home to just over 65,000 residents. Wyoming's landscape is characterized by the Rocky Mountain ranges and rangelands in the western half, while the eastern half consists of high plains, featuring high-elevation grasslands. The state experiences a division between semi-arid and continental climates, resulting in windier and drier conditions compared to much of the rest of the country. Over half of Wyoming's land is owned by the federal government, often designated for public use. In terms of both acreage and the percentage of a state's land owned by the federal government, Wyoming ranks 6th. Wyoming is renowned for its rich indigenous folklore, awe-inspiring natural surroundings, and magnificent national parks such as Yellowstone and Grand Teton. The state boasts one of the lowest population densities in the nation. Wyoming is also celebrated for its bull riding, cowboy culture, and being home to some of the most breathtaking rangelands on Earth. It is within the borders of Wyoming that the disappearance of Lisa took place in 1988. Lisa Marie Kimmel, the eldest daughter of Sheila and Ronald Kimmel, was born on July 18, 1969, in Covington, Tennessee, and raised in Billings, Montana. After graduating from Billings Senior High School in 1987, Lisa accepted a position as a restaurant manager at an Arby's in Aurora, Colorado, a town near Denver. Sheila Kimmel, Lisa's mother, worked as a regional manager for the restaurant chain, and the two would commute weekly, covering approximately 555 miles between Billings and Denver. Lisa and her mother resided in separate apartments within a Denver apartment building during the week. However, they frequently traveled back to Billings to visit Lisa's father, Ronald, and her other sisters. In the final weekend of March in 1988, Sheila and Lisa made the decision to return to Billings from Denver for a weekend of quality family time. Nevertheless, they opted for different routes as they had distinct plans. Sheila intended to go skiing with her friends, Sherry and Stacy, while Lisa planned to introduce her boyfriend, Ed Jarrach, to her family. Consequently, Lisa charted a course to Cody, Wyoming, to pick up Ed before heading to Billings, Montana. She chose to take the surface road instead of her usual highway route in order to reach Cody. With the weather conditions being favorable, Lisa should have arrived at Ed's residence late on Friday night, approximately 8 hours after departing. However, she never reached her destination. The following morning, Ed took the initiative to contact the highway patrols multiple times. Subsequently, Wyoming Highway Patrol Officer Alan Lesko disclosed that he had pulled over Lisa for exceeding the speed limit on the night she disappeared. On March 25, 1988, Officer Lesko claimed to have been patrolling in a southbound direction when his radar detected a small vehicle traveling northward at a speed of 88 miles per hour. He swiftly turned his vehicle around and pursued the aforementioned vehicle. Eventually, near Orrin Junction, the patrol officer successfully intercepted her. In his official statement, he described her as being well-groomed and possessing the qualities of a respectable daughter. Lisa confirmed her identity by signing the ticket. This interaction marked the last confirmed sighting of Lisa Marie Kimmel. As the week progressed without any communication from her daughter, Lisa's mother began to grow concerned. On March 27, 1988, as tensions escalated, Lisa's father, Ronald Kimmel, arranged for a private plane to search for any signs of the black Honda that Lisa was driving. There was a glimmer of hope that perhaps Lisa had taken a wrong turn and was lost in the vast Wyoming desert. Meanwhile, Sheila, Lisa's mother, tirelessly reached out to as many people as possible, seeking any information that could help bring their daughter back home. The Kimmel family went to great lengths to spread awareness about Lisa's disappearance, creating flyers with her photo and description, and even placing an article in the local newspaper offering a reward for any valuable leads. Initially, this was treated as a missing persons case, until a week later on April 2, 1988, when Greg Bradford, a mechanic, stumbled upon Lisa's partially unclothed body floating in the North Platte River in Casper. The sight was horrifying, and it reminded him of the reports he had heard about a missing girl from Montana. Double-checking, he realized with a heavy heart that it was indeed Lisa Marie Kimmel. The entire Kimmel family was devastated by the discovery of Lisa's body, as they had never anticipated such a tragic outcome. Despite their grief, they remained resolute in their pursuit of justice. The Wyoming Police Department spared no effort in investigating the circumstances surrounding Lisa's untimely death. Ed Jarrock, Lisa's boyfriend, confirmed that he had spoken to her on the phone around 4:30 p.m. on March 25, 1988, making him the last person to have contact with her. Lisa had mentioned her plan to reach Cody, Wyoming, to pick Ed up around midnight. Ed also revealed that Lisa's license plate had a personalized touch, displaying the name Lil Miss, a nickname given to her by her grandmother when she was a child. The police meticulously combed through the area where Lisa's body was found, leaving no stone unturned in their search for answers. Approximately a quarter of a mile away on an old highway bridge, authorities found blood that matched Lisa's blood type. The police concluded that the perpetrator likely resided in the area due to the bridge's remote location and infrequent use. Eyewitness accounts of suspicious activities, such as a car on the old government bridge and headlights flashing in the early hours of the morning, led the police to believe that Lisa's murder occurred on March 26th, approximately 5 hours after she was pulled over for speeding. However, the investigation became more challenging as conflicting information started pouring in. Numerous witnesses claimed to have seen Lisa's car, with some even reporting sightings of Lisa herself. Sheriff Ron Ketchum of the Natrona County Sheriff's Department mentioned that over 1,000 people, including police officers, reported seeing the car. There were even alleged sightings in Canada. One of the most credible sightings occurred about 10 hours after Lisa's supposed murder, when Donna Kirkpatrick, the wife of the county sheriff, claimed to have seen Lisa driving a vehicle in Buffalo, Wyoming. Donna described a black sports car with a Montana license plate reading Little Miss. She was convinced that the driver was a young girl, specifically Lisa. Another witness, Diana Houston, reported seeing Lisa in Casper, Wyoming, over 100 miles away from Buffalo, more than a day after the alleged murder. Diana noticed a car with an out-of-state license plate, specifically from Montana, on a Sunday afternoon. The reason for her noticing it was because she hailed from Montana. The license plate displayed Little Miss. Diana, who happened to pass by, observed a driver with blonde hair and a yellow sweater. Lisa was last seen at 9 on Friday night, and her disappearance was reported at 9 on Saturday. She was reportedly sighted 3 times that day, once on Sunday and later on. The investigators were puzzled as to why Lisa hadn't visited her parents' or boyfriend's home if she was still alive. The questions surrounding who was using the vehicle with Lisa's identifiable license plate, assuming she had passed away early on Saturday morning as the police suspected, were troubling. The statements from all these eyewitnesses complicated the investigation. However, the autopsy provided crucial information to the police, shedding light on the events leading to Lisa's demise. Her body showed no signs of decomposition due to the extreme cold. The autopsy revealed that she had been beaten, chained, and assaulted before her death. Additionally, foreign DNA was discovered on her body. Coroner James Thorpen's investigation of Lisa Kimmel's body revealed that she had been repeatedly stabbed and struck on the head. Thorpen estimated that Kimmel had been held captive for approximately 6 days, based on the condition of her body when it was found. It was evident that she had endured multiple assaults. Police suspected that Lisa had been murdered at the old government bridge or in its vicinity before being disposed of in the river, as blood matching hers was found on the bridge. Lisa was laid to rest on April 8, 1998, nearly 2 weeks after her disappearance. Over 200 individuals attended her funeral at Sunset Memorial Garden. Her untimely death came as a shock to her family and loved ones. In October of the same year, a family friend visited Lisa's grave and discovered a note that raised further suspicions. The handwritten note was securely attached to the headstone. It read, "Lisa, there aren't words to say how much you are missed. The pain never leaves. It's so hard without you. You will always be alive in me. Your death is my painful loss, but heaven's sweet gain. Love always, Stringfellow Hawk." Lisa's loved ones were completely clueless about the identity of the writer. The incident only added to the enigma surrounding her death. Numerous television programs, including Unsolved Mysteries, dedicated airtime to the perplexing case of the Little Miss murder. However, as time passed, the investigation grew cold due to the lack of substantial suspects or evidence. The case remained an unsolved mystery until 2001, when law enforcement agencies across the United States extensively explored DNA sampling. The DNA recovered from Lisa's body was entered into the system, leading to a moment of elation for the police when it matched the DNA of a man already serving time for multiple charges. The database identified the DNA as belonging to Dale Wayne Eaton, a 57-year-old man from Minetta, Wyoming. Dale had an extensive criminal record, ranging from juvenile correction center stays for assaulting a woman over a watermelon to aggravated assaults on the Breeden family. On September 12, 1997, he had initially stopped to assist the Breeden family, whose car had broken down on a desolate Wyoming highway. However, he proceeded to kidnap them at gunpoint after a short distance. Although he managed to escape from jail 2 months after being detained for this crime, Eaton was eventually recaptured in the Shoshone National Forest 3 months later. His offense was upgraded to a federal felony due to the presence of a weapon, and he was ordered to provide a DNA sample while serving his sentence in a federal prison. Tragically, Eaton committed manslaughter by killing one of his fellow inmates. In 2001, the Little Miss murder case was re-evaluated to gain a fresh perspective on the crime. After the discovery of the matching DNA, the previously unsolved case of Lisa Marie Kimmel was reopened, prompting investigators to gather information and evidence to establish Dale as the perpetrator of this heinous crime. Neighbors of Eaton informed investigators that they had witnessed him digging a large trench on his property in Minetta, Wyoming, approximately 75 miles away from Casper. In the summer of 2002, the location was excavated, leading to the discovery of Kimmel's Honda CRX, still bearing her distinctive Little Miss's license plate. Subsequently, Eaton faced multiple charges related to the Kimmel case, including first-degree premeditated murder, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated robbery, first-degree assault, and second-degree assault. In April 2003, Dale Wayne Eaton was convicted for the premeditated murder of Lisa and brought to trial in 2004. The trial swiftly concluded, as the evidence and testimonies clearly pointed to Dale as the sole perpetrator. The fact that his DNA matched the DNA found on Lisa's body in 1988, coupled with the discovery of her car buried on his property, served as substantial evidence against him. Additionally, a fellow inmate named Joseph Francis Dax testified that Eaton had confessed to the crime. According to Dax's testimony, Eaton accepted Kimmel's offer for a ride, but when she rejected his advances, the situation escalated into kidnapping, assault, and ultimately murder. On March 20, 2004, Eaton was convicted on all charges and sentenced to death. Despite his unsuccessful appeals, Eaton managed to secure a stay of execution in December 2009, just weeks before his scheduled execution in February 2010. In 2014, his death sentence was overturned. Although the state initially intended to pursue the resumption of the death penalty, they withdrew their plea in September 2021. Eaton, who was the sole inmate on Wyoming's death row, was eventually released from his death sentence. On March 25, 2022, Dale Wayne Eaton was informed that he would spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of release or commutation. Almost 2 decades after receiving the death penalty, the Kimmel family received compensation in the form of Eaton's property due to a wrongful death case. Unfortunately, the structures were destroyed by fire on July 18, 2005, which coincided with what would have been Lisa Kimmel's 36th birthday. Throughout and after the trial, the Kimmel family expressed their emotions in various ways. Sherry Odegaard, Lisa's sister, believed that the original sentence should have been upheld. Sheila Kimmel, Lisa's mother, requested that Eaton take a closer look at her and her daughters, emphasizing that he had neglected to do so in the past. The entire Kimmel family engaged with Eaton and his legal team. Sherry, in particular, disputed the defense's assertion that Eaton had a traumatic background and possessed the mental strength to endure a death penalty hearing. His health issues and difficult upbringing do not excuse his actions, Sherry stated. Both Dale and his defense attorney, Sean O'Brien, understood what was right and wrong, she emphasized, calling out the attorney for supporting a criminal like Dale. According to Lisa's younger sister, Stacy Pitts, Eaton cannot be considered a victim simply because of his declining health. He is still a criminal. It feels incredibly unjust that Dale Wayne Eaton receives 3 meals a day. Initially, Eaton did not intend to speak. However, his attorney, Sean O'Brien, claimed that Eaton asked him to apologize on his behalf after their conversation. Nevertheless, the family did not accept the apology, as it did not come directly from Eaton himself. The Kimmel family members expressed a sense of finality, but not closure. Sheila Kimmel remarked, "This marks the end of another chapter in a long book. Hopefully it will be the last chapter."
On November 6, 1999, when Jennifer Watkins failed to return home after her shift at the Memorial Hospital, her husband, Michael Watkins, called the Fountain Police Department to report her missing. On the same day, Irene Skinner, Jennifer Watkins' mother, who babysits her grandchildren, contacted the Colorado Springs Police Department after her daughter failed to come pick up the kids. Almost immediately, a report of a missing person was initiated by the Colorado Springs Police Department. During the initial investigation, detectives and investigating patrol officers carried out interviews with Jennifer Watkins' family members and co-workers numerous times. Officers were able to discover Jennifer Watkins' car with Michael Watkins's help in an employee parking area close to Printers Parkway and East Pikes Peak Avenue. The car was seized, but no items of evidence or hints connected to Jennifer Watkins' disappearance were found during the ensuing search. The investigators continued to search for Jennifer Watkins, interviewing people at the Memorial Hospital where she worked. While at the hospital on November 8, 1999, detectives received a word around 10 a.m. that a corpse had been discovered behind a stairwell in a section of the hospital that was still under construction. It appeared that 2 Dover elevator service workers entered the stairwell on the 8th level to examine and fix an elevator shaft that needed a repair. They perceived a very different and offensive smell as soon as they approached the stairwell area. When the elevator staff peered under the stairwell, they noticed what appeared to be the outline of a body bound with duct tape and covered in plastic. On request, the scene was immediately visited by investigators from the Colorado Springs Police Department Homicide Unit, Metro Crime Lab, and the El Paso County Coroner's Office. After the investigators removed the plastic, they found a deceased white female adult with brown hair. The victim was dressed in a purple blouse, black slacks, and a teal uniform smock. Her clothing was laid out in a way that suggested a sexual assault had taken place. Detectives questioned a number of workers and contractors at Memorial Hospital throughout the course of the investigation. No suspect was found despite looking into more potential suspect leads. The deceased adult female's autopsy was soon completed by the El Paso County Coroner's Office, and she turned out to be 23 years old Jennifer Watkins, who suddenly went missing a few days back. According to David Bowerman, the coroner for El Paso at the time, Jennifer had died of blunt force trauma to the head. Her death was determined to be a homicide. The question of who killed Jennifer Watkins bugged the police and her family for years. Jennifer Lee Watkins was born on the 24th of November, 1975 to William and Irene Skinner in Methuen, Massachusetts. She was the second of 4 children, and Joseph, her youngest brother, held a special place in her heart. Jennifer obtained her high school diploma from Hanover, Colorado High School. She enjoyed socializing with friends and caring for her pets. Jennifer loved playing volleyball and wished to help people. Her love for music made her join the school band as a clarinetist. Jennifer Watkins desired a career as a nurse. She and her husband Michael Watkins married on the 8th of April 1995, and roughly 3 years later, Michael was hired as a maintenance worker at the Memorial Hospital in Colorado Springs. Not long after, Jennifer was also hired there as a dietitian. The investigators worked tirelessly to bring justice to Jennifer's family. As part of the crime scene processing, a close inspection of the plastic used to wrap Jennifer Watkins' body turned up some hairs, fibers, and a yellow-whitish stain that was eventually identified as semen. At the autopsy, further biological evidence was also gathered. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation received a number of pieces of evidence for analysis. In addition to the victim's DNA profile, 2 other DNA profiles were created from the evidence items submitted for processing. The plastic wrap, the victim's pants, and semen samples taken at the autopsy were used to create these profiles. Although the semen found in Jennifer Watkins' pants and in the plastic wrap matched each other, they did not match the sample taken during the autopsy. A number of potential suspects had their biological samples taken, and all of them had been exonerated because their DNA did not match the 2 unidentified DNA samples. Although there were security cameras installed all over the hospital facility, the pictures were too blurry to be of much help. Police originally concentrated on those with access to the crime site, but there were no leads. They then shifted concentration on Michael Watkins, who worked night shift in the hospital's housekeeping division. Irene Skinner, Jennifer Watkins' mother, had her doubts about Michael. According to Irene, her daughter's life took a different turn after she moved in with her husband, Michael Watkins, whom she had attended grade school with. Irene Skinner reported that Michael Watkins struggled with drug use, and more often than not, Jennifer required multiple visits to the emergency department as a result of domestic abuse. Also, in addition to his volatile personality and tumultuous relationship with Jennifer, Michael Watkins had run-ins with the law in the past, which involved criminal mischief and a pellet gun incident. He was, however, interrogated multiple times as the investigation progressed, and he complied fully with all the proceedings. Michael admitted he had an affair with Jennifer since one of the DNA found on Jennifer Watkins' body came from him. He, however, denied killing her. After obtaining a warrant, they searched Michael Watkins' home and discovered a pair of pants that seemed to be covered in blood. An analysis of the object revealed that it was blood, but it was Michael's blood. The 2 DNA samples that were taken from the crime scene didn't provide any answers. Even if the one from Jennifer's body matched Michael's DNA, it didn't raise a red flag because Michael was married to Jennifer. The other DNA sample from the plastic was unknown. The police asked Michael Watkins to take a polygraph test, to which he consented and passed. Even though Michael was still a suspect, the detectives looked at other possibilities. They focused on a male hospital employee who mysteriously left town without warning or collecting his final salary immediately after the murder of Jennifer. During investigation, detectives soon discovered that the man was on probation for a murder in Louisiana, which he claimed was self-defense. When authorities located him, he rejected all accusations of involvement in Jennifer Watkins' murder and consented to provide a DNA sample. His DNA, however, didn't match the DNA discovered at the crime site where Jennifer was killed. Following a thorough investigation, no suspect was found, and the case eventually became cold. Numerous investigators have been trying to identify a suspect in Jennifer Watkins' case for the past 21 years, without success. Jennifer's case remained unresolved for a while. Over the years, technological advancements in familial DNA analysis occurred. Between 2017 and 2018, cold case investigators with the help of Parabon Nanolabs, a Virginia-based DNA technology business, used DNA phenotyping to determine the physical characteristics and ancestry of the unidentified DNA evidence at the crime scene. The suspect traits was predicted using the DNA evidence found in Jennifer Watkins' pants. Parabon made an individual prediction of the suspect's ancestry, eye color, hair color, skin tone, freckling, and face shape. A snapshot composite was created by combining these physical characteristics to show what the suspect would have looked like at age 25 and with an average body mass index of 22. Due to the fact that age and body mass index cannot be established from DNA, these default values were utilized. In an effort to generate leads, this photos was subsequently released to the public. The findings showed that the murderer had fair skin, blue or green eyes, blonde or brown hair, and was around 25 years old when the crime occurred. However, investigators were able to focus on a person who police had actually interrogated in 1999 after using genetic genealogy to narrow down the suspect. The killer was Ricky Severt. According to a check of the original case report, Ricky Severt, who was 29 at the time of the murder, was questioned by investigators on November 19, 1999, as a part of the initial homicide investigation. He was employed by Memorial Hospital and was a member of the maintenance team. He started working there in April 1998. According to Ricky Severt's work schedule that he provided during his interview, on November 5, 1999, the day Jennifer Watkins was last seen, he would have been working a swing shift. Additionally, he denied ever having met Jennifer Watkins when asked. Finally, the culprit has been identified, but sadly, further investigation revealed that on November 2, 2001, 2 years after Jennifer Watkins' murder, Ricky Severt was killed in a car accident on Highway 94, just east of Colorado Springs. The investigators, however, obtained DNA samples from the suspect's living relatives. According to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the proportion of the population that may be excluded as a contributor to the DNA gathered in this case is 99.99,994%. It means Ricky Severt cannot be excluded. The 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office received the Jennifer Watkins case on October 1, 2020, for examination. The District Attorney's Office is certain that Ricky Severt killed Jennifer Watkins. The investigation into the murder of Jennifer Watkins will be closed as exceptionally cleared or death of offender, because Ricky Severt had already died in a car accident in 2001. After all these years, we are grateful to finally give Jennifer Watkins' family the answers they deserve. No matter the length of time, we will always work to serve this community. And I am proud of all the cold case detectives throughout the last 21 years who have never stopped working. For Miss Watkins, not for one moment did they ever lose sight of what was most important, finding the truth for the Watkins family. And thank you to our partners. We would not have been able to solve this case without your time, skill, and dedication, said Colorado Springs Police Department Chief Vince Niski.